Who's the main character of JJK? Who's the protagonist and what's the difference? Let's talk about it. Every now and again these conversations pop up. Is Yuta even the MC? Is he a good MC? Yuta should have been the MC, or Sukuna is secretly the main character. I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts, but of course, JJK manga spoilers. Itadori is thematically necessary for the mainline story. It could not be told by Yuta, it could not be told by Gojo, and of course not by Sukuna. The elements that people find frustrating with Itadori as a main character are intentionally put in by the author. Now, is Gege successful through their storytelling? I would say that's up to debate based on your own personal preferences. Unlike an MC like Yuta, Itadori suffers from cosmic irony. The actions that he takes with the best of intentions oftentimes work against him and end up harming more people than he saves. But it's that suffering that is integral to Itadori's story and to the broader themes, taking something negative and transmuting it into something positive. People love to joke that Gege hates their own characters, but it's that suffering that ties into the power system that was established to prove a point, to tell a story about suffering and pain. We see cursed energy. What does that come from? Negative emotions. And we see our characters, our sorcerers, able to transfer that into energy that can be used in various ways. Itadori is able to even turn fear into his own power. Itadori losing doesn't mean that he is not a good main character. Itadori actually checks off a lot of boxes for both the role of main character and protagonist. Like a classic MC, he is someone we're introduced to at the beginning of the story. We learn about this cruel Jujutsu world along with Itadori. He's relatable and sometimes reluctant. He also checks off a lot of the boxes usually associated with protagonists. It's his actions that drive the plot forward, and he has clear set-in-stone goals. But why is it that sometimes Itadori feels like he comes up short in terms of what people expect from an MC or from what they're even just getting from the series, even without any expectations? One reason is that this has an ensemble cast. We see these different perspectives, different characters might follow around for an entire arc without Itadori being involved at all or very little. While I've said before that Itadori losing isn't really a problem, I think another issue that we run into is that Itadori seems to have very little control over his own fate. And if anything, many of his actions only seem to help the antagonists. He's playing along with their little plan, thanks to our mastermind Kenjaku. So in his own story, he lacks agency. And he's a character who's referred to as an object many times. We have him referred to as Sukuna's vessel by many people, and he refers to himself as a cog later on. This leads us into our antagonist, Sukuna. He's a great foil to Itadori because he's someone who avoids pain. So we have this character who's suffering so much, but he keeps moving forward, and an antagonist who is, throughout all of his power and his bluster, he is still someone who's afraid of suffering, afraid of the trait that our main character is able to harness and turn into a source of power. Yuta is not the main character of the mainline story. I do not think that he shares main character status with Itadori if we separate JJK Volume 0 from the mainline story. He's more of a cameo type of character. He's a side character. He's someone fun to see, and yes, he is powerful, but power does not make one an MC nor a protagonist. I would say that Gojo is more of a protagonist than Yuta is in this mainline story. It's many of his actions and inactions that drive the plot forward. Another common trait of protagonists is that there's an air of mystery to them, and that's certainly true with Gojo early on in the series. In conclusion, I would say that many of the issues that people have around Itadori as an MC are issues that were brought into the story intentionally by Gege, but are they successful or not? That depends on the reader. I will say that I enjoy that Gege did something different, and that it plays into the major themes. It's not just some kind of torture fest for our MC. It's something that is a part of this story that they're trying to tell about suffering, about pain. Yuta's a great main character, but his main character points pretty much run out once we leave Volume 0. Gojo is a great protagonist. He drives the plot forward in interesting ways. He is a bit mysterious, and that makes us want to keep reading and learning more about him. But he is not our main character. He's not someone that we experience the story through his eyes as a person who's just being introduced into this new crazy world. He's essentially a veteran. And Sukuna is obviously an antagonist, not the main character. It doesn't matter that he keeps winning and that he's powerful, his story keeps moving forward. He is not the person whose eyes we're seeing through, and he's clearly put into the story to act in opposition to our protagonist.